is big. Okay, that's good to know. All right, now I got that. I got to look at that thing. All right. Can you see my extinguisher without this meeting is being recorded? Because that's basically in my screen. Is there any way you can take that out?
Just have to click on it.
Okay. There you go. All right. If you can purchase basically a fire extinguisher. Usually they come in packs of 2. They have instructions on them. Okay. Make sure it's an ABC fire extinguisher. Category A fires, category B, and category C. Okay. Basically, it's a dry chemical inside. What you can do is stand at least 3 to 4 feet away. Remember the word pass. The instructions are on the box. Remember the word pass. PASS. P stands for pulling the pin. The A stands for aiming at the base of the fire. The S stands for squeezing the handle. And the last S stands for moving slow. Excuse me. Sweeping side to side with your back to a way out. Okay, that's the fire extinguisher. Excuse me. Hot in here. Now,
Could you repeat the information about the extinguisher and just maybe slow it down a little bit? People want to catch that information.
sure. I'll read it out of the book. Okay, remember the word pass. The P stands for pulling the pin. The A stands for aiming at the base of the fire. The first S stands for squeezing the handle. And the last S means sweeping side to side in a side to side motion with your back to a way out. Did everybody get that?
What do you recommend for a good fire extinguisher that we should buy for our kitchen?
For category A, category B, and category C fires. Okay. Now, like I said, we sweep side to side with our back to a way out. But if the fire is too big for you, make sure you get yourself and your family out and call 911. Okay? Because different people act differently during fires. Okay, some people panic, some people don't. You know, it could be too big. So it's up to you. But what I always suggest is when you purchase the fire extinguisher, make sure that you basically read the instructions before you have to use it. Okay? Take it out of the box. Hang it up in an area basically where you can get to it.
Can you go over the fire extinguisher stuff one more time? Just be very specific. Is there a brand that you're recommending?
No, I don't recommend, we don't recommend brands.
Okay.
No, we never recommend, the fire department never recommends, basically, then the brand that I recommend, the other brand that's on the market could take us to court. So we don't recommend brands. The only thing I can tell you is get one for the home, which is basically for category A, category B, and category C fires, which they sell basically at local, Home Depots or Lowe's or reputable hardware stores.
Okay,
Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Okay, great.
Is
great.
there one extinguisher for all 3 categories?
Yes, for category A, category B, and category C fires, yes. The red one.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, okay, great. Also, in home fires, Sometimes people love candles. Okay. This one is like a safer alternative. It's battery operated. Okay, but if you do choose to purchase, use candles, it's up to you. Make sure it's on a sturdy holder. And basically you blow it out before you leave the room. Don't leave it unattended. And it's an open flame. Leave it at least 3 to 4 feet away from something combustible. Bedding, drapery, live plants. Okay, because it is a live flame. And don't leave it laying, basically sitting on top of a table, especially if you have small children around. Okay, so blow it out before you leave the room. Don't leave it unattended. And then also electrical fires. Those are always the tough ones. Okay. In a nutshell, okay, any major appliance, do not use an extension cord. Any major appliance, such as an air conditioner, refrigerator, dishwasher, washing machine, needs its own dedicated outlet. Okay, it has to be plugged directly into the wall. Don't use an extension cord. And this time of year, especially with air conditioners, it needs to be plugged directly into the wall. Okay, any questions on that?
Does each air conditioner have to be on its own dedicated circuit?
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of current out of the wall. And you can start electrical fire.
Can we go back to the fire extinguisher? I think people are very interested. If you could sort of demonstrate, show where the pin is, how to sweep. People are very interested in the extinguisher, please.
Okay. Here's the pin, pulling the pin out, squeezing the handle. Okay, I'm not going to squeeze this because I don't want to start, squirting it all over the place. Squeeze the handle. Aim for, okay, let's start all over again. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, sweep side to side with your back to a way out.
Also, what's the general shelf life of an extinguisher? So I've had an extinguisher for years and years and years in the apartment, and I'm not sure it's useful anymore.
Okay. Shelf life's usually 10 to 12 years. How old's your extinguisher?
I'm probably older than that.
Yeah. Even though you probably never used it before, even though it may still read in the green, basically what's on the inside might clump up and it might not come out. So every 10 years, just purchase a new one. It's a small investment for safety. Okay, same thing with smoke detectors. They last about 10 to 12 years, so maybe 10 years. So it's a small investment every 10 years. It's not a bad idea.
And then
Okay, go on.
the appliances that need their own plug into the wall, can you just go through that? Obviously, you said air conditioners. Is there any other guidance related to that?
Yeah, any major appliance, refrigerator, anything that heats or cools. That has a motor
TVs,
inside, like a compressor.
TV, so things like TVs wouldn't necessarily be considered.
Well, that's electronic. But it depends on how old the TV is. Some of the TVs that are, basically they do use a lot of energy. Yeah, so that's an electronic. So I'm not saying you're gonna be totally safe, but if you have to rely on extension cords in your home, maybe it's time to basically either call your landlord up and have more basically outlets put into your home, or call an electrician yourself and have more outlets put in.
Do major appliances in the kitchen need to be plugged into GFCI outlets?
One more time.
Do major appliances in the kitchen have to be plugged into GFCI outlets?
Well, GFC outlets are basically outlets that are next to the sink. Okay, so now if you had basically, if you had a construction in your home and they basically put in an outlet and they put it basically, it depends on where they placed it. And, if the appliance isn't near the sink, okay, but it's its own, depending on what electrician that you called, and maybe a licensed electrician, they would know better than I would. Did that answer your question?
For the most part, yes, thanks.
Okay, no
Can
problem.
I use a heavy duty power?
What's a heavy duty power strip?
I think she just got cut off, so I don't think she's gonna be able to answer that question. Why don't you go ahead? We're trying to save questions till the end, let him get through what he needs to get through. And then we'll have a lot of time for questions. So why don't you go ahead? We got cut off, so I don't know. She didn't answer your question.
Okay, very good, very good. All righty. What were we up to? Fire extinguishers?
Mhm.
You will keep going back to it. All righty. Yeah, like I said, the major appliances have to be plugged directly into the wall. Simple as that, okay? Don't use an extension cord, don't use a power strip, just plug it directly into the wall for a major appliance, because you don't want a fire in back of the wall where we have to show up in the middle of the night because you smell maybe smoke coming out of the outlet because you plug too many things into the outlet. What we suggest for you to do is to basically, if the outlet has 2 plugs, don't make it 6, okay? Don't make it 6. Just plug how many plugs are in the wall, use just those 2 plugs. With an appliance, it needs its own direct outlet, because what it'll do is it'll basically what'll happen is it'll cut your power out by plugging it into basically into an outlet that can't take the power coming out of the wall. So it needs its own direct outlet. Okay, I can't say it any plainer than that. Okay, especially anything that heats or cools. It has a compressor inside and it uses a lot of power. Okay, so it's very, very important that we follow these guidelines. These guidelines are in the book at FDNYsmart.org. You can look it up online. It's in all different languages. It explains to you basically everything I've been talking about. Okay, now, going on, early detection. Early detection is very important. Very important. Having working smoke detectors is very important. Okay, smoke detectors save lives only if they work. Okay, if they don't work, it's useless. All it is a piece of plastic that's on top of your ceiling. It has to work. Okay, we have a program called Sound the Alarm Program, where basically what you do is you call up the number, okay, and then a representative from the American Red Cross or the fire department will get back in touch with you. We will take down your address and phone number and make an appointment with you. Come to your home and we will install smoke detectors in your home. The one that has the 10-year lithium battery inside, where you don't have to change the batteries anymore. Like we used to change the batteries twice a year. Okay, we don't have to do that with these. These have a 10-year lithium battery inside. And once it's connected, we put a bracket onto the ceiling, and then we put this detector up, and then we click it in, okay, into the ceiling, and then it activates it. And it's good for 10 years. It's good for 10 years. Okay, and now it also has a test button on it. Okay, a test and a reset button. The one that I'm carrying in my hand is a combination smoke detector / carbon monoxide detector. So it's very important, okay? Very important that we know the difference with these. Okay, that's the test button I just pressed. 3 chirps. That means it detects smoke. 4 chirps means it detects carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, 4 chirps. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer. It displaces the oxygen out of your blood. Okay, you can't see it, you can't smell it, you don't know what's coming, you don't even know it's there until basically you may feel flu-like symptoms and you may feel a little nauseous, and then a couple more inhalations, God bless you, a couple more inhalations of it can cause death. Okay, can be fatal. Okay, they're very important to have working smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in your home. Okay, when it comes to smoke detectors, at least it's early detection. You'll know, because if you don't know there's smoke in your home, if you don't, okay, there could be a fire in your home. If you live in a private home, there could be a fire in your basement. Okay, a fire in your basement. And it's not the fire that can be fatal. It's the smoke that's produced from the fire. It's the smoke that's produced from the fire that has carbon monoxide in it. Okay, and especially if you're in your bedroom sleeping, it can get up into the living area of your home, and then it puts you into a deeper sleep. So fire never got anywhere near you. It's the smoke that can be fatal. That's why it's so important to have working smoke detectors in your home. I will give you the number of the program. Okay, it's called Sound the Alarm Program. I'll give everybody a minute to grab a pen and pencil and a piece of paper to write it down. Okay, and just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to take it down.
Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna put it in the chat also.
Okay, great. The number is 1-877 733 2767. That's 1-877 733 2767. Basically, you're gonna get a recording, probably a drop down. Okay, you give your information, they'll get back in touch with you and they'll make an appointment with you. Okay. If you don't remember the number, it's 1-877 Red Cross, and you just leave off the last S. Sound the Alarm Program from the American Red Cross. It's early detection. Okay, very important. Smoke detectors save lives. Okay, in a smoke-filled environment, you can watch these TV shows, these movies where the firefighters are in that building and they can see across the room and they're communicating with each other. Okay, no, that doesn't happen in real life. In a real fire, you can't see your hand in front of your face. Okay, you can't see your hand in front of your face. You have to stay low. Okay, because smoke rises, hits the ceiling, then banks down. You have to stay low. You have to stay under the fire. Get your hand to a wall. Feel that wall, because all walls lead to windows and doors. Okay. If you don't have a detector, okay, that's basically your only way of survival is your hand to a wall. Okay, feeling the door. If it's hot, if the door's hot to the touch, don't open the door. You may have fire on the other side. Okay, so we have to work our way out. Now, my understanding is a lot of people, okay, in this meeting, they live in high-rise multiple dwellings, non-combustible buildings. Okay, you have to figure out what type of building you live in. In the building that you live in, does the management company or maybe the landlord, do they provide you with the fire safety plan? Okay, and what to do if fire is in your apartment or if fire is not in your apartment. There's two different tactics in a non-combustible fireproof multiple dwelling. And that's something we have to figure out on what type of construction our building is made out of. Okay, that's part of our escape plan. Okay. Now, if you live in a private home, fire is in your home, you have a smoke detector. Okay, gave you ample time. Okay, it went off. There might be a light haze. Maybe, okay, maybe you can't see. It depends. All fires are different. Okay, either way, have an escape plan. You can't get out the front door. You can't get out the back door. Maybe we can go out a window. Okay, anyway, any plan that you could think of to get out of your home. Okay, now at the end, the drill isn't over yet. You have to have a safe meeting location outside with you and your family. Okay, to make sure everybody's accounted for. Okay, make sure everybody's accounted for. Like we tell the kids, when you get to your safe meeting location, stay there. Stay there. Okay, wait for everybody else from your family to come over. Okay, take attendance like we tell the kids in school. You have attendance in school, you have attendance at home with the safe meeting location. Okay, we tell everybody, if you forgot something inside, we can replace it, but we can't replace you. Okay, we can't replace you. If there's somebody missing, okay, you let the firefighters know. Let the firefighters know. We'll go back inside and do a search. Okay, we have the equipment. We'll do a search. These fires basically get bigger and bigger over time. Okay, you might have gotten out fine when it wasn't that bad inside. Maybe by the time you got out, okay, it got bigger and darker, and the smoke got denser. Okay, unfortunately, in a smoke-filled environment, okay, the temperature of the smoke at my knee could be about 100 degrees. Okay, it could be about 100 degrees, but that same smoke at my shoulder level could be about 400 degrees. That's why we have to stay low. We have to stay low and go. We don't hide. We go outside. We don't hide in the closet. That's not going to help you because the smoke can still get to you. Okay, we tell everybody the smoke can still get to you. Don't hide under a bed. Okay, like we tell the kids. Just don't hide, get outside. Have a safety plan. If you live in a building that's a fireproof, non-fireproof multiple dwelling, combustible building, okay? Basically, it has fire escapes. All right. If the fire's in your apartment, you have to get out. But now, if the fire is in the hallway and the fire is rising up, okay, through the stairway, up the hallway, use your fire escapes. Okay, we'll figure out how to get you out of there safely with the first 2 units. Okay, we'll stretch a line. We'll make sure that we extinguish the fire that's in the staircase, or maybe if the fire is impeding onto the fire escape, we'll figure something out. Okay, we'll figure something out to get you down. All right, I hear the thunder. Okay, in those type of buildings, non-fireproof combustible buildings, okay, it doesn't matter where the fire is in the building, you still have to get out. You still have to get out because fire can spread from one floor to another within minutes. Okay. And if you do get out of your apartment, make sure you close the door. Close the door, keep the fire and the smoke in that apartment as long as possible to help people get out. Okay, to help people get out. We don't want the fire and the smoke to go into the hallway, and then when people are trying to come down the stairs, okay, then they meet up with the fire and the smoke. That's how we could have fatalities, and we've had fatalities, okay, because of that. Okay, but never, ever use an elevator. Okay, because what could happen is the smoke can enter the elevator shaft, rise up, go into that elevator car, and then that elevator can malfunction and open up on the fire floor, or people can get trapped in that elevator car that's full of smoke. So we don't use an elevator. Either we use the stairs or we use the fire escape, or if it's low enough, we could ladder up to you, or we're gonna figure something out to get you out of there. Okay, it's no, basically, we talk about prevention for a reason. Okay, we talk about prevention for a reason because unfortunately, you live in different types of dwellings. You could be the safest person, but if your neighbors aren't as safe as you are, unfortunately, you could devastate other people's lives. You can devastate other people's lives by just carelessness or something, or something accidental. Okay, so we always talk about it. I'm going to give you our phone number, where if you want basically to let us talk basically to maybe members of whatever building you, maybe you have a tenant association meeting. Okay, we could talk to basically the people that live in your building and discuss with them basically, different types of prevention and stuff that, maybe you're not part of this group at least. And usually we'll, basically if, however it's arranged, it can be arranged after work. Okay, because, people do work. People are going back to work, and, we can come there at, 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night, and talk it over, maybe in the lobby with the tenants, and talk about fire safety. Okay, our number to schedule something like that is 718-281-3870. It's basically on my tablecloth. 718-281-3870. That's the Fire Safety Education Unit. We're starting to open up a little bit more now. Basically, we are coming that, we are showing up live now. We'll report to the building, or we could do a virtual, whatever works for you. Okay, we'll set something up. Okay, but we could talk to the individual tenants in a building. Okay. Now, if you live in a building, okay, where you looked up the address and your fire safety plan said that it's a non-combustible building, it's a fireproof multiple dwelling, they should also give you a fire safety plan. Okay. Fire is in your apartment. Okay, fire is in your apartment. Try the best you can to get out. Try the best you can to get out. Okay. Fire is not in your apartment. All right. Oh, let me backtrack on that. Fire is in your apartment. Try the best you can get out. When you get out, close the door. Okay. The doors in apartment buildings should be self-closing. Okay. Don't put anything in the threshold like a doormat, okay, in front of the door where it could jam the door from shutting automatically. It should shut automatically, okay? The reason for that is we don't want the fire and the smoke and the heat to go out into the hallway. Okay, we don't want that to happen. So you get out, you close the door. All right. If it's in the middle of the night, okay, now with the invention of the cell phone, take that with you. Okay, like I said, remember before I said the smoke detector goes off? All right, and now you make your way to a wall, you feel around, now you feel the door at the back of your hand before you open it up, and it's hot to the touch. Okay, it's hot to the touch. Unfortunately, you may not be able to open up that door. All right, at least if you have that cell phone, you can let the 911 operator know that you're trapped in your bedroom, okay? And there's fire on the other side, there's fire in your apartment, but you're trapped in your bedroom. Then in turn, they'll let the incoming units know that somebody's trapped, and then we're gonna have to figure out a way to get you out of there. Okay? Maybe we could extinguish the fire from a different, maybe bring 2 hand lines up to, or whatever it takes, okay? Or maybe we have to breach a wall, maybe we gotta figure something out. All right. That's why it's good basically to have your cell phone when you go into your bedroom and and you know, when you're sleeping. Okay. Now, part of that fire safety plan should also tell you that if fire is not in your apartment, it's actually safer to shelter in your apartment, okay, especially if the fire is below you. Because unfortunately, what we don't want to happen is, yes, somebody had a fire in their apartment. They had working smoke detectors. They got out safely. They left the door open. Now all that heat and smoke goes out into the hallway. And then I'll give you another scenario. Basically, that heat basically took the windows out. And now the windows, the wind outside blew into that apartment and blew the heat and the smoke into the hallway and up the stairs. And some unsuspecting person basically, you know, because instinct tells you your building is burning, get out. But now some unsuspecting person basically left their apartment, which might have been up above. And now they're trapped in the hallway because unfortunately all that smoke and carbon monoxide can go up the stairs and into the hallway, and smoke has carbon monoxide in it. Okay, and a couple inhalations of that can be very fatal. So we suggest that you shelter in place. Okay, that should be part of your fire safety plan issued to you by your building management. Okay. I'm up for a few questions.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of things that have come up. One question asked, if you sleep with your window open, does it prevent it dying from carbon monoxide poisoning?
It depends how much of a level it is. Now, are you going to sleep with your window wide open when it's like, you know, in the middle of the winter?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the general
What-
question,
but
though,
what
look,
did-
I think
but-
can I just, 1 second? I think rather than that, as a general question, if you have your window open, whether it's the summer, the winter, whatever, if that's your choice, does that mean it would prevent you from dying from carbon monoxide, or will it not? I think that's really the question.
Well, so you basically, what you're asking me is, now, if you do that, and now basically tomorrow you basically pass away of carbon monoxide poisoning. All right, now you're going to say like Lieutenant Delegati said it was okay to do it.
No one said, no, I think that just, the question is really just a general question. If you keep your windows open, does it prevent carbon monoxide poisoning, or does the literature say it doesn't?
I really don't think, I really think you can still suffer carbon monoxide poisoning by having your window open.
Okay.
Because it depends on the concentration of the carbon monoxide.
I think the next question was, if you either are using a wheelchair or you're an elder person or a young person who's immobile for whatever reason, what kind of planning should you do in case of a fire in those situations? Because they're, you know, not going to easily be able to go downstairs or whatever.
Yeah, especially if you live in a building where basically everybody has to escape. Okay, basically try to work it out. If you could work it out with your neighbors, that could help you get out of the building. Okay. If your building has like a front desk, basically let us know if there's basically tenants there or, you know, basically that are wheelchair bound and they can't get out. At least the firefighters will know.
Mhm. Is there anything else they should do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, live on the first floor, but you know, that's not as easily said than done. You know. Yeah, it's about it. At least let us know. So at least if there's somebody is wheelchair bound, we could go there and check up on them to make sure that they get out safely.
Okay. Another question on fire extinguishers. Can you use a fire extinguisher multiple times?
No, one-time use only.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
And then does the ABC extinguisher work for electrical fire?
Yes, category A is for ordinary combustibles. Category B is for fuel fires, which is basically grease. And category C is electrical fires. Everything in your household. Basically, it's a dry powder. It's not liquid base.
There was also suggested, just to go back to the wheelchair and or any other mobility issues, is maybe also call 911 and let 911 know that you're in an
Right,
apartment.
you
and-
basically you have a problem, at least they'll let the firefighters that are responding know.
Other questions from people?
Yes, I have an important question about leaving things that are flammable in heat in a car, in a parking lot, like in a closed garage, because a lot of items like hand sanitizers or sunblock, it says on the packaging that if left in heat, like over 125 degrees, it can explode. And that could be dangerous if in hot weather like today, if it's left in a car in a garage, and I'm afraid of that. Does that ever happen?
Yeah, sometimes if you leave like combustibles, yes, inside of a hot car or a hot garage, it can, because everything does have it has this explosive limit. When it reaches a certain amount of degrees.
I think people should be aware of that.
They should be very cognizant of that, of course, yes.
Other
Yes.
questions, people?
On the same similar topic, certain clothes are combustible, right? If there's a certain kind of nylon or whatever in it, and if you heat it up too much in a dryer in the laundry,
Yeah.
it's possible. This happened to a friend of mine. Then you put it on your bed, and then the bed burst into flame, right? Slowly, but it does happen.
It can smolder, yes. But you brought up a great point about a clothes dryer. Every once in a while with a clothes dryer, because a lot of time, basically we're responding to maybe some of these residential buildings that do have a washer dryer and stuff. Sometimes there's so many multiple uses in there. Every once in a while, somebody should just check the lint and make sure that the lint is cleaned out of the track, because that could also catch fire. That was a great question.
Any other questions? One thing we will be doing is we will post the brochures that the lieutenant was talking about, as well as these phone numbers on the website, so everyone will have access to them. We'll send them a link afterwards. Are there other questions?
I have a question concerning sleepwear for children or grandchildren. I just got word that my granddaughter needed some summer pajamas. I asked what kind. They tell me the shorts, the long, the whatever. But when I went online to check out different sleepwear from major companies, it actually indicated these are treated for fire, whatever it's called, prevention. But then there were others that were not. So I thought that was even illegal to be sold at this point.
Yeah, like fire retardant, you mean?
Yes. But
Fire
some of them,
retardant, yeah.
some of them were treated that way, and yet there were others that were 100% cotton, and they were not treated. So I thought that those that were not treated were a few years ago off the market. Are they now on? Should we be careful of that?
Right. Now, you said you looked it up online. Was it like basically like, what type of website did you look it up on?
No, I looked it up, like I went to Carter's, the clothing manufacturers, and I was going to purchase and send off to my granddaughter. And when I checked it out, there were two different types, and I was in shock.
Okay, excuse me, I want to say something.
Yes.
I worked at HBO. There was a documentary called Toxic Hot Seat about how toxic flame retardants are, especially to firemen, and they're trying to outlaw them now. They only buy you 12 seconds. I mean, they're thought to cause cancer and autism, and it's really bad for you. So
Really?
yes, I would try to find that documentary, and I would avoid flame retardants at all costs. In fact, when our building went on fire, I was afraid that I was going to get sick if from the flame retardants that were burning. They're trying to
Wow.
outlaw it. I got a sofa in Crate and Barrel a couple of years ago, and I made sure to ask, are there flame retardants in the sofa? And they said, we will not sell anything with flame retardants. It's going out of fashion, and I would avoid them at all costs.
Well, I thank you for that information.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's somebody who did their homework.
Yeah, no, just watch the documentary.
Oh, good
It's
for you.
very
Good-
convincing.
Because I know basically at Broadway shows, okay, at Broadway shows, they're supposed to, with the curtain, it's supposed to be flame retardant also.
Avoid.
Yeah, because especially if it has a if they have pyrotechnics,
Oh, that's true.
and so.
Right, that may be different with clothing versus, something like that. I
I
mean,
guess, yeah.
I don't know that we
yeah.
have the expertise.
So that's pretty heads up though, with that documentary.
No, because firemen in California will get it. You should watch it. It's very informative.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna look it up because, a lot of times you don't realize, like, especially like, cause I work in Midtown Manhattan, especially the Broadway district and in the Garment district also. And a lot of times we'll have, electrical vault fires and, and basically, you'll see that, that plume of black smoke coming out of these manholes. And, me and my, my company, we'll be standing there, hose line at the ready and stuff, but we'll be masked up, basically because we're not inhaling that. But then, we close the street off, but you have people that just want to, like, basically they walk by and, and basically, they have strollers and stuff. We try to tell them, you can't come down this block because, and basically they take offense to that. And then basically, what I'll say to them is, do you really know what's in that smoke and what that smoke could do to you or your child in like 10 years from now? And that's basically, how you alert them, that, this could be bad for you.
There's also information at the National Institute of Health that people can look at. Marianne, do you have a question? I see your hand raised. You have to unmute yourself. Or put it in the chat, one or the other.
There you go.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sheltering in place for a fire. Some places might be safer in your apartment or in your home than other places.
Yes, in a non-combustible fireproof multiple dwelling, because of the construction of the building with the cement walls, cement floors, and cement ceilings, the fire can stay compartment, basically in the apartment itself. The smoke might be able to get out, but maybe the fire will stay in there. Okay, so that's why we suggest that you basically, if the fire is not in your apartment, you can shelter in place in your own apartment. Okay, but if smoke does come into your apartment from, say, maybe your neighbor down the hallway, what you could do is take wet towels, put it underneath the door to stop the smoke from coming into your apartment. Because what we don't want to happen is we don't want you to get caught up in the hallway. Basically, now you get caught up in the hallway and the door closes behind you and it's self-locking. Now you're trapped.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, I have another question about electrical things. When I first moved to an apartment, I had some electrician come in and they looked at the electrical work in the bathroom, and they saw that there was no grounding wire. Should all outlets now have grounding wires? Is this part of the new rule, or is that not something that FDNY gets involved with?
Well, that's basically, Department of Buildings basically gets involved with that. Basically, they have the electrical experts who basically who give a certificate of occupancy, and they do an inspection on the building itself or your home. So basically what we do is we basically go along with the experts, okay, that work for the buildings department. And if they suggest to us that this is a fire hazard, then we'll agree with them.
So that, that GFC outlet, should they all have grounding wires or?
Well, they should, basically GFCs is supposed to be within a certain amount of feet of any water source.
Supposed to be out, I didn't understand what you said.
In a long story short, I'm not an electrician,
Yes.
okay? But I know a little bit about the GFC. It's supposed to be any outlet that's next to any sort of water source. It's supposed to be, it's basically, if anything that's plugged in falls into the water, it cuts off.
We have another question in the chat. In New Manhattan, extra tall skyscrapers, what floor is the highest you can reach?
That's,
I'm not trying to understand.
basically our 35-foot portable ladder could reach to the 4th floor. And our, basically our 100-foot area ladder could reach up to basically, I don't know, around, depending. Now, it might go straight up, but usually we're out on the street and it goes into an angle. So, not really that sure. Maybe, I would say, maybe 7th floor.
I have a question. You have a power strip on your table. Some people use them to plug in for lamps and stuff like that.
Right.
What is the life of those power strips? Should they be changed every so often?
Yeah, if you start seeing like any sort of discoloration with it, or maybe there's like a little smell of like smoke or anything like that coming from it, yeah, it'd be a good idea basically to change it. You know, same thing, maybe once every 5 years.
I had a quick question about air conditioners again.
Oh yeah, one more thing on that. One more thing on that. Anything that you purchase electronically or anything, make sure there's a UL on it, Underwriters Laboratory. That means it's been tested. Okay? That means it's been tested. So anytime you purchase anything such as that, make sure there's a UL. It stands for Underwriters Laboratory.
And someone else had a question? You started to speak?
Yes, I had a question. I just needed to get a little bit of clarity on air conditioners since we're coming up to the season. I had asked before whether or not the air conditioner should be on its own dedicated circuit, to which you said yes, but then you started talking about how it should have its own outlet, which are two different things, obviously. So can you run an air conditioner on a circuit that's, you know, being accessed by other outlets, for example, or do you have to have the air conditioner, and this might be a question for an electrician, but do you recommend that the air conditioner have its own dedicated circuit, much like a stove, a microwave oven, a refrigerator? They all have their own dedicated lines, or that's what's recommended.
Right.
Are you saying the air conditioner needs its own dedicated line as well, or does it only need to be plugged into its own outlet? Because I have an AC outlet that has other outlets on that panel.
Mhm.
I'm not entirely sure whether or not they're running on the same circuit just yet, but it is causing me a little bit of concern.
I would treat it the same as any other appliance. You said that the other appliance has its own circuit?
Well, that's what I would just want to get clear on, if it should be on its
Yeah,
own dedicated line.
this might be a question for an electrician.
Okay.
Yeah, also your building might know, so it might be something that you could ask within your building.
Yeah, I would basically, like myself personally, every appliance I have in my home goes to its own circuit.
Any other questions from people? So we have a recording of most of this. As you saw, I started a little bit late.
Mhm.
But we have a recording of most of this. Like I said, we're gonna put up the information on our website. I certainly think the idea that the lieutenant talked about in terms of having someone come and talk to your building is incredibly important because each building is different. And I think that that would be a wonderful thing to avail ourselves of. Is there anything else from anyone before we close down and thank the lieutenant? Going,
What if my air conditioner doesn't reach the outlet? Hello?
yeah, he's thinking.
hear
He
ya.
hears you.
Oh.
He's thinking for a second. Let him think.
You might have to use another window.
That's where the air conditioner box is.
Okay, so basically they put an air conditioner. So an air conditioner was installed in your apartment.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
water box. And the cord
And
doesn't
now the
reach
cord doesn't
the
reach the outlet.
right.
You may have to either change the location of the air conditioner or have somebody change the location of the outlet.
I don't think that could be done.
Well, what are you using right now? You're using an extension cord?
Yeah. One for air conditioner. I went to the Home Depot and asked them.
Unfortunately, that could be very dangerous.
I have a similar setup because neither of the windows in one of my bedroom reaches the outlet.
Right.
And I too was told that you can buy a particular type of extension cord
That's what I
Or-
bought.
to
Okay.
accommodate, what is it, the voltage of the air conditioner that's installed there. And I've been using it for many years. So I'd like to know that what I'm doing is not a potential hazard.
I'm gonna tell you, it's a hazard. Okay, discuss this with an electrician then,
Okay.
okay? Because basically, I don't want to suggest to you to use an extension cord and then something happens,
Right.
okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. We make suggestions and hopefully you follow them. We're trying to keep you safe.
And is there any other questions? It sounds like we've answered. I don't see anything in the chat box either. Lieutenant, thank you very much for your time. It's been
Not a problem. Stay
very, very
safe, folks.
helpful. We will, and we will follow up on some of the suggestions of meeting with the buildings.
All right, take
Anything
care.
else? All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Safe. Bye.
Bye.
Well, see you next week.